walk with me.
The earth is the I ams and the fullness thereof, the world and they that dwell therein. For he hath founded it upon the seas and established it upon the floods. Who shall ascend into the hill of the I am, or who shall stand in his holy place? He that hath clean hands and a pure heart, who hath not lifted up his soul unto vanity, nor sworn deceitfully. He shall receive the blessing from the I am, and righteousness from the God of his salvation. This is the generation of them that seek him, that seek thy face, O Jacob. Selah. Lift up your heads, O ye gates, and be ye lifted up, ye everlasting doors, and the King of glory shall come in. Who is the King of glory? The I am strong and mighty. The I am mighty in battle. Lift up your head, O ye gates, even lift them up, ye everlasting doors, and the King of glory shall come in. Who is the King of glory? The I am of hosts. He is the King of glory. Selah. Psalms chapter 24. Deliver me from the hands of evil spirits who have sway over the thoughts of men's hearts. And let them not lead me astray from thee, my God. Establish thou me in my seat forever, that we go not astray from henceforth and forevermore. A prayer of Abraham, Jubilees chapter 12 and verse 20. Yes, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, those of you on this platform and shared platforms. We thank God for you, and you. And also we thank God for those of you that have came since the beginning and those of you that have came thereafter and here and there's about. And we thank God for those of you who have just subscribed. Yes, and those of you that are about to subscribe, calling those things that are not as though they are. Yes, 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 yes. This is a beautiful day. Yes, and we're just left off where Esau made a request of, Isaac, let me get it right. Isaac made a request of Esau to go get him some venison that his son made specially for him. And Rebekah heard all the words, and she decided that she was going to try to counter this thing because of the agreement between Esau and Jacob. And there was also a written contract, as it is in this narrative. Yes. And in verse 5 of the 29th chapter of Jubilees, or should I say Jasher chapter 29 and verse 5, Rebekah tells Jacob, she says, rise up and go, I pray thee, to the flock and fetch me 2 fine kids of the goats. And I will get the savory meat for thy father, and thou shalt bring the savory meat that he may eat before thy brother shall have come from the chase, in order that thy father might bless thee. Now, Jacob didn't even tell, not Jacob, but not even Esau. That was between Isaac, Esau, and Jacob. Esau was so deceitful, underhanded, and undermining that he did not tell his father what he had done. And this, I can see why God says he despised his birthright. And therefore God hated Esau because of that. Yes, but he was still the seed of Isaac, who was a blessed man. And verse 6, and Jacob hasted and did as his mother had commanded him, and he made the savory meat and brought it before his father, before Esau had come from his chase. And Isaac said unto Jacob, who art thou, my son? A question. And he said, I am thy firstborn Esau. Yes, he lied. And I have done as thou didst order me. Now, therefore, rise up, I pray thee, and eat of my hunt, in order that thy soul might bless me, as thou didst speak unto me. And Isaac rose up and ate, and he drank, and his heart was comforted. In other words, this stuff is good, yes. And he blessed Jacob, and Jacob went away from his father. And as soon as Isaac had blessed Jacob, he had gone away from him. And behold, Esau came from his hunt from the field, and he also made his savory meat and brought it to his father to eat thereof and to bless him. Yes, he blessed him. And so in verse 9, Isaac said unto Esau, and who is he that has taken venison and brought it to me before thou camest, and whom did I bless? Now see, Esau still underhanded, evil. And Esau knew that his brother Jacob had done this. And the anger of Esau was kindled against his brother Jacob, that he had acted thus toward him. Now, this is what you call gaslighting. Esau really gaslighted himself in his evilness, deceiving himself. Not only was it a written agreement, it was verbal before the I am, that Esau sold his birthright for a morsel of food. And now he's acting as though it never occurred, or a joke, despising his birthright. God is no joke. Verse 10, and Esau said, is he not rightly called Jacob? For he has supplanted me twice. No, you supplanted yourself twice, taking the blessing, even your birthright, as a joke. This is what happened. Now you got 4 accounts. No, 3 accounts. You have the Jubilees, you have Jasher, and you have the book of Genesis. Accounts of this thing. And many would say Jacob was a supplanter. No, it doesn't look that way. Not a supplanter in the least. And he has taken away my blessing, and Esau wept greatly. But he wasn't weeping when he sold his birthright. He wasn't weeping when he signed the agreement between him and Jacob. He wasn't weeping then, but now he counted it as a joke. This is just something we just did. But Jacob took it very seriously, because Jacob really was a man of law and order. And this here was also stated before the I am, even as the I am willed it. And when Isaac heard the voice of his son Esau weeping, Isaac said unto Esau, what can I do, my son? My brother came. Thy brother came with subtlety and took away thy blessing. And Esau hated his brother Jacob on the account of the blessing that his father had given him, and his anger was greatly roused against him. And Jacob was very much afraid of his brother Esau, and he rose up and fled to the house of Eber, the son of Shem. Now there, he knew that he just going to get some more teaching from the commands, statutes, and ordinances and laws of the Most High. Yes. These same laws was back then. They were there. And he concealed himself there on account of his brother. And Jacob was 63 years old when he went from the land of Canaan from Hebron. And Jacob was concealed in Eber's house 14 years on account of his brother Esau. Okay, here we go again. And he there continued to learn the ways of the I am and his commandments. Here we go. Yes. And when Esau saw that Jacob had fled and escaped from him, that Jacob had cunningly obtained the blessing, then Esau grieved exceedingly. Yes, he did cunningly obtain the blessing because it was his. He got it because he sold him a plate of food. And Esau was so silly and despising of his own birthright that he sold it. Like, what is this birthright to me? Even as one of the translations says. Now, and he was so troubled or vexed at his father and mother, and he also rose up and took his wife and went away. Now he married in a woman that his wife, or that his mother and his father did not like, the Canaanites. They didn't want their sons taking a wife of the Canaanites. Now he went away from his father and mother into the land of Seir. And he dwelt there, and Esau saw there a woman from amongst the daughters of Heth, whose name was Basmath, and the daughter of Elon the Hittite. Now you're talking about the Hittites, Perizzites, Jebusites, and all these people. And he took her for a wife in addition to his first wife, and Esau called her name Adah, saying, blessed had in that time passed from him. And Esau dwelt in the land of Seir 6 months without seeing his father and mother. Now that is bad. And Esau took his wives and rose up and returned to the land of Canaan. And Esau placed his 2 wives in his father's house in Hebron. Verse 14, and the wives of Esau troubled and provoked Isaac and Rebekah with their works. In other words, they were pagans. This is one of the reasons that Canaan was to be destroyed. They were pagan. And the first reason is because Canaan had no business in the land of Shem. This is the land of Shem that God had given to Shem. That whole, what you call Middle East, that's the land of Shem. And Canaan decided he wanted to live there. And his father and his brother, and they all warned him, don't go there. That's not what God gives you. That's not the land allotted to you. But Canaan did not care. Let's continue. Now, as the wives of Esau vexed and provoked Isaac and Rebekah with their works, for they walked not in the ways of the I am, but served their father's gods of wood and stone, as their father had taught them, and they were more wicked than their father. In other words, they were pagans again. Verse 15, and they went according to the evil desires of their hearts, and they sacrificed and burnt incense to the Baalim. Now, this is where we first hear Baal, or this worship of this bee god. There were other ones too. And Isaac and Rebekah became weary of them. Paganistic, the first pagan. God hates that with everything. That we should take any god or any entity or any man or any woman or anything as next to him. When you say that God has a wife, you're a liar. When you say there are other gods or even this Jesus that stands beside you, is a liar. When Stephen stood up, they say he stood up beside these things when he was getting ready to get martyred and said he saw the Son of Man standing beside God. He's a liar. The ones that was an inserted deal. Being that true, that is true. God, there is no one beside me, says the Most High. I am he, and besides me, there is no other, is what he says. I don't care how you try to explain it. God says no one beside him. No one's equal in power to the Most High. No one. And Rebekah became weary of them. In verse 16, and Rebekah said, I am weary of my life because of the daughters of Heth. If Jacob take a wife of the daughters of Heth, such as these are of the daughters of the land, what good then is life unto me? Now Rebekah, coming from her father's house, 10-year-old girl with a 30-year-old man, or should I say 40-year-old man. And in that time to this time, Rebekah have learned the ways of the Most High. She learned she learned of the women of the Most High. She learned what God requires of her, as well as those that would follow after the ways of the Most High. She learned the ways of love, and she learned the ways of how family works. Very strong and powerful woman. You call yourself a strong woman, you need to do the commandments, statutes, and ordinances of the Most High. You're going to find out how strong you can be. Even so, you, man, especially you. Now, in verse 18, Ishmael, the son of Abraham, died in those days. Yes, he was a very righteous man. Ishmael was. He had his quirks. The 64th year of the life of Jacob. Now, Jacob's 64 now. And all the days that Ishmael lived were 137 years, and he died. And the Ishmaelites, you're going to hear about them again, his sons, or his offspring. And when Isaac heard that Ishmael was dead, he mourned for him. I mean, that's his brother. I mean, I had mourning when my brother died, or all my brothers. I had two brothers that are deceased. Yes, I mourn, regardless of what they did. God is their judge. I'm not. But the fact is you mourn for them. You're sorry that you couldn't see them that last time. You might be far away and can't get to them in time. And then all you do when you show up, they're looking at a carcass that is not the spirit or the one that was your brother. And when Isaac heard that Ishmael died, he mourned for him, and Isaac lamented over him many days. And at the end of 14 years of Jacob's residing in the house of Eber, Jacob desired to see his father and mother, and Jacob came to the house of his father and mother to Hebron. And Esau had in those days forgotten what Jacob had done to him in having taken the blessing from him in those days. I mean, Esau, here he is, occupied with 2 pagan wives that his mother and father told him not to do. And when Esau saw Jacob coming to his father and mother, he remembered what Jacob had done to him, and he was greatly incensed against him, and he sought to slay him. But he wasn't going to do it before his father Isaac, nor his mother Rebekah. And Isaac, the son of Abraham, was old and advanced in days. And Esau said, now my father's time is drawing nigh. But his mother's still living now, that he must die. And when he shall die, I will slay my brother Jacob. Now watch God. And this was told to Rebekah, and she hastened and sent and called for Jacob her son. And she said unto him, rise and go and flee. Because they knew Jacob was a rough man. He was a roughneck, thug. Yes, he was a thug. You women love him. Yes. Now, and remained there for some time. This Jacob was, he got those women of Heth and Canaan. Yes, they was just a headache, not only to him, but his mama and his daddy too. Now, for some time until thy brother's anger be turned from thee, then shalt thou come back. And Isaac called unto Jacob and said unto him, take not a wife from the daughters of Canaan, for thus did our father Abraham command us according to the word of the I am. Now see, God told them this. This is where God is getting ready to come back 400 years later for this very reason, to give them that land that was stolen from their father Shem. And Abraham commanded us according to the word of the I am, which had commanded him, saying, unto thy seed will I give this land, if thy children keep my covenant that I have made with thee. Then will I also perform to thy children that which I have spoken unto thee, and I will not forsake them. Now understand, note that word. If thy children keep my covenant. Come on here. See, the land only belongs to the children of Jacob as long as they keep the covenant. Now it's occupied by heathen, dogs, and anything lower than that. That land is occupied and is at war, even at this moment that we speak. And I will perform to thy children that which I have spoken unto thee, and I will not forsake them. And now, therefore, my son, hearken to my voice and to all that I shall command thee, and refrain from taking a wife from amongst the daughters of Canaan. Arise and go to Haran, to the house of Bethuel, thy mother's father, and take unto thee a wife from there, from the daughters of Laban, thy mother's brother. In other words, Rebekah's brother. And therefore, take heed lest thou shouldest forget the I am thy God in all his ways in the land to which thou goest, and shouldest get connected with the people of the land and pursue vanity and forsake the I am thy God. Now, this is told even in more detail in the book of Jubilees, and in some detail even there in the 66 books. Now, he says in verse 28, and may the Almighty God grant thee favor in the sight of the people of the earth, that thou mayest. Now, see, the earth was known. They were the center of the earth right there. But in all that, that was the known earth to them. As I said and mentioned before, it was vast. There were people who, from the Tower of Babel, or from the time that man has replenished the earth after Noah. That's the only replenish the earth I know of. As far as there was no replenishment of the earth, as they would say in the 66 books. God doesn't tell man to replenish the earth because the earth wasn't even occupied before that time. Now, They're trying to get you into this idolary, these gods, which are nothing more than just falling angels. All these gods of Egypt and all, they're nothing but fallen angels. Yes, the magic is done and all that stuff, but they're still just fallen angels. Idolatry. They're there to lead you away from the Most High, even the only one that stands in heaven on the throne and that sits in heaven on the throne. Yes, the only one. Now, he said, take there a wife according to thy choice, one who is good and upright in the ways of the I Am, because the house of Bethuel knew the ways of the I Am. That's how Isaac got Rebekah. And may God give unto thee and thy seed the blessing of thy father Abraham, and make thee a fruitful and multiply thee, and mayest thou become a multitude of people in the land whither thou goest, and may God cause thee to return to his land and the land of thy father's dwelling, with children and with great riches and with joy and with pleasure. And Isaac finished commanding Jacob and blessing him, and he gave him many gifts together with silver and gold, and he sent him away. And Jacob hearkened to his father and mother, and he kissed them, and arose and went to Padanaram. And Jacob was 77 years old when he went out from the land of Canaan, from Beersheba. Now, you've seen that on the map where Beersheba was. Beersheba was like a small city that Abraham lived in. Even Isaac. Yes, Beersheba. It's called Beersheba because the V was pronounced like a B, but it's really a V, Beersheba. Okay? And when Jacob went away to go to Haran, Esau called his son Eliphaz and secretly spoke to him, saying, now, hasten, take thy sword in thy hand and pursue Jacob, and pass before him in the road and lurk for him, and slay him with thy sword in one of the mountains, and take all the belongings to him and come back. In other words, you get this from me, you get it from that. I hate him. My brother took my birthright, even though I gave it to him. All right, now. Verse 32. And Eliphaz, the son of Esau, was an active man, an expert with the bow, as his father had taught him. Okay, we got you. And he was a noted hunter in the field, and a valiant man, same as his father. Yes, okay. And Eliphaz did as his father had commanded him, and Eliphaz was at the time 13 years old. You're going to send a 13-year-old boy to a grown man who also is just as good as this boy. Jacob wasn't no play toy. And he rose up and took 10 of his mother's brothers with him and pursued Jacob. And he closely followed Jacob, and he lurked for him in the border of the land of Canaan, opposite the city of Shechem. Now, these are some doleful people. These people were sons of Belial. Yes, Shechem. What a bad bunch this was. And Jacob saw that Eliphaz and his men pursuing him. And Jacob stood still in the place which he was going in order to know what this was, for he did not know the thing. And Eliphaz drew his sword and went on advancing, he and his men, toward Jacob. And Jacob said to them, what is this to do with you, that you have come hither, and what meaneth it you pursue with your swords? And verse 36. And Eliphaz came near to Jacob, and he answered and said, thus did my father command me. Now, therefore, will I deviate from the orders which my father gave me. And when Jacob saw that Esau had spoken to Eliphaz to employ force, Jacob then approached and supplicated Eliphaz and his men, saying to him, behold, all I have and which my father and mother gave unto me, that take unto thee. God gonna bless me anyway. I don't care. And go from me, and do not slay me. And may this thing be accounted unto thee a righteousness. Now, verse 38. And the I Am caused Jacob to find favor in the sight of Eliphaz. He turned his heart with money. And the son of Esau and his men, and they hearkened to the voice of Jacob. and they did not put him to death. And Eliphaz and his men took all the belongings to Jacob, all belonging to Jacob, together with silver and gold, and that he had brought him from Beersheba. They left him nothing. And Eliphaz and his men went away from him, and they did return to Esau to Beersheba. And they told him all that had occurred to them with Jacob. And they gave him all that they had taken from Jacob. And Esau was indignant, and Eliphaz his son, and at his men that were with him, because they did not put Jacob to death. You know, we want the money. We don't care about your life. And they went and they answered and said unto Esau, because Jacob supplicated us in this manner not to slay him, our pity was excited toward him. This was the work of the Most High. And we took all belonging to him and brought it to thee. And Esau took all the silver and gold which Eliphaz had taken from Jacob, and he put them in his house. And at that time, verse 42, when Esau saw that Isaac had blessed Jacob and had commanded him, saying, thou shalt not take a wife from amongst the daughters of Canaan, and that the daughters of Canaan were bad in the sight of Isaac and Rebekah, because they were pagans. The first commandment, pagans, thou shalt not have any other gods before me, is what he said. This thing is so adamant with God. When you have all those crosses and all these other things that you have these, they say, as a point of faith. No, it's pagan. Your faith should not stand in what you see. Your faith should stand in what you know and what you don't see. Because the things that you don't see made the things that you see. And what good are they? How more powerful are they than that which you don't see, if you understand what I'm saying? Yes. And verse 43, then he went to the house of Ishmael, his uncle, and in addition to his older wives, he took Machleth, the daughter of Ishmael, and the sister of Nebaioth, for a wife. Yes, and with that, we're going to say, until next time, peace.
Walk with me.